still get used to the new record button, but it's Friday, January 3rd. This is the end of the 5 days that will start on the normal 2025 because one seems to know what day it is. Yesterday, I can't tell you how many times
yesterday they were like, have we had 7 Mondays in the last 2 weeks? Like, what happened?
Yesterday, all day, I was referring to Tuesday as Friday. I was like, well, we talked about this on Friday. Because,
even though
Wednesday,
it wasn't Tuesday, it was Thursday, and it was not Friday. Yeah, it's like...
we didn't have this problem when we worked retail. Right?
No.
Because you know exactly what day it is because you're working. It's New Year's Day because you're working. I
don't know.
We don't have that anymore.
We're on the other side. It's been all a mess.
We're on the other side.
We're ready for next Monday, reset, be on time. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Hey, a bunch of stuff going on. Make sure you go to nadaparties.com and check out our party, but also check out our sponsors. Check out all the other parties that are listed. We're over between 20 and 30 right now. There's going to be more. This is going to be the authoritative guide to what you're doing after the show every day at NADA. Make sure if you have a party going on, you submit it on the site so we can post it. It doesn't cost anything to post your party up there. We'll make sure we get the info and links and get some people coming your way. Maybe we'll stop by and visit too.
Yeah, it's really selfish because we're like, once we're done with ours, how do we plan the rest?
I know.
It's kind of for you, but it's also for us. You know what I mean? Is the way that we do that.
And we want to thank our friends at Clairvoy for helping us make NADAparties.com possible.
Yep.
It takes a little bit of a village to make sure everyone knows where they're going.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, did you know that next week we are planning, I haven't told you the day. I don't think we even know the day that we're going to be fully dropping the ASOTUCon website, the tickets, the app. It's all coming in hot. So there were some people that got early tickets. If you want to be the first person to know that there are tickets available, still go to ASOTUCon.com and you can sign up, be on the email list. There's a few hundred people right now that are waiting on waiting on their knees, just hoping that they'll be the first one to get in. So you can get that information. We'll have some basic schedule, all that type of stuff up.
And also, if you were at ASOTUCon last year and you have the app on your phone still, like I do, you will notice the icon is now updated. So it's got the new ASOTUCon app. App adoption, by the way, our app usage last year was through the roof.
It was nuts.
It's
a great
really good app. Yeah. And so if you are always want to go to a conference with a good app, you're about to go to one.
You're going to do it.
Yeah. End of May. Hey, so we every day we put out this email. It's the daily, what do we even call it? The daily pushback. The daily pushback. I was the troublemaker, the pushback. That's the things. But it's a daily email. It gives you a quick digest of what's going on, has a lot of fun stuff. And I thought I'd share a few things from it this morning because it's so much fun.
There's some good stuff.
Somebody's bringing me coffee. I'm so excited. Someone brings me coffee on the live stream.
Oh, my goodness. Bringing you coffee on the live stream. Can you imagine? Can you believe that? That's unbelievable.
So we always include some fun facts in the bottom of the email, like this day in history. In 1899, this day in history, the first use of the word automobile happened in the New York Times.
That's crazy. 1899. Yeah. That kind of is shocking to me. I always think of the 1900s as the car, but the 1890s things were starting to warm up and people were starting
they
to
moved on. I wonder if they probably in that article, I wonder if we can find it. They probably was the first tossing across the net. Maybe we shouldn't say motor carriage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe we should
say that's such a wild January 3rd.
Good. It was a little bit of media. A little bit of, you know what I mean, what we're in.
Yeah,
also,
what we do.
Day, remember the brand Pontiac?
Oh, that sad brand.
1926.
They were doing so. I think they were just ahead of their time.
Dope. They were so cool, and then they got so mid. Toward the end of the years. But 1926, the first Pontiac came out. I would drive an old Pontiac.
Yeah,
maybe that's you and me. Maybe down the line a little bit.
I would doubt it.
We're gonna get some old muscle cars.
What we need to do is we need an old Pontiac to go around like that we ship to the next More Than Cars, and that's what we drive around the city when we're doing More Than Cars.
If you have a car that's amazing that you want to let us use for our More Than Cars intros, outros on
you just ship that over.
We will do it. just putting that out there.
Yeah.
We will do it. All right, let's talk about some news.
Let's get into it.
It was kind of the talk yesterday. I didn't see too much about it, but Hindenburg Research, known for exposing automotive startups like Nikola and Lordstown Motors, has published a scathing report on used car retailer Carvana, alleging questionable accounting practices and underwriting concerns. Basically, they're saying Carvana sold $800 million in loans to a suspected related party and used accounting manipulation to inflate profits. They allegedly sold the vehicles to DriveTime, as we know, a company founded and owned by Ernie Garcia II, the father of Ernie Garcia, who we all know, who runs Carvana. And they're saying they inflated the prices to avoid recording markdowns, keeping profits high. A former director reportedly, they did all these employee interviews. I read about the process, right? It's really in depth. They go Freedom of Information Act. They interview former employees. They claim Carvana approved 100% of every loan applicant.
That's unbelievable.
Suggesting they took on all this risk to show higher sales. Carvana shares did drop 1.9% following the report, closing at under 200 now. The company called the report. However, Carvana, Ernie, PR department said this is intentionally misleading and inaccurate, asserting that their focus is on long-term growth and everything they're doing being part of their strategy. You can read the full X thread on our LinkedIn page. But I mean,
here's what, okay, couple things on this. One, I think people, at least in the industry, and I think why this isn't like as big a news, like 30 people not posting on LinkedIn about it yesterday, is some of this stuff I feel has been kind of known, that they've leveraged DriveTime, their finance companies, to like accelerate retail. So, whether or not the spin on this is how they quote unquote inflated prices or took on riskier loans, like that's kind of the business strategy, to take on riskier loans
to grow the customer
grab more
base.
market share.
Absolutely. And so that's
which is
really
why I think it like after the report, you would think a report like this, as quote unquote scathing as it would be, would see a 5-10% drop in shares, and you're not seeing that. So I think there's some wisdom out there on, so I wouldn't go running at like, burn the ships.
I knew it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and time will tell, right? We're in a media environment where one thing comes out and the reflex to like pile on the person being accused has kind of been the norm, but that temperature seems to be changing pretty quickly. And I hope this is, I hope that there's nothing shady going on. I know that, right? Every time I've met or talked to or interviewed Ernie Garcia, CEO of Carvana, he's been really great, really nice, shared his insights with the industry. And we'll see, but that's the news, folks.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
That's the news.
Oh,
I have to say, like, what a recovery. And also the things that Carvana has brought an impetus for our industry to change are like, we would have never done
1,000 times over for
had
that.
Carvana not been there.
Speaking of another company that forced us to do things we weren't going to do.
That's right.
Segue.
It's a long segue, but it's a good one.
It's
a long segue, but it's a good one.
I mean, it's Friday. Fridays are for long segues. Tesla's Q4 production and delivery numbers are in, making a challenging end to 2024 for the EV giant with its first annual drop in deliveries ever. I think since 2011, right? Like when they were just getting started. They delivered 1.78 million vehicles in 2024, falling short of the 1.81 delivered in 2023. Q4 deliveries hit 495,000, falling short of analyst expectations of 500,000. So they're just coming in under. But the story is that it's under. It's the first time they've taken a step back in overall deliveries. The shares dropped 7% following the report, despite a 63% rally in 2023 or 2024. Declining sales in Europe, slower growth in China, BYD and Hyundai gaining market share. Some experts worry that Musk's $277 million support for President Trump and his advisory role may have diverted focus from Tesla's operations.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I don't either. Patrick George, editor-in-chief of Inside EV, said, quote, Tesla still does many things better than any other EV maker, but the challenge remains the nuts and bolts job of being a car company.
It will continually be harder for them as new entrants make it. I would be interested, and I didn't look at the specific details, but I would be interested to see the growth in the US versus the growth in China, right? Because I'm going to look that up actually today, because I would suspect that there was still growth in the U.S., but that they got beat in overseas
China.
markets, specifically in
BYD.
China, because of BYD and other automakers in China, and that was a major market for them always. So I still like, was there a distraction? No, because there's a legit amount of people that are doing the work day in and day out, and we've had the fortunate opportunity to meet some of those that have been inside of it. So I like, they're doing fine, fam. Cybertruck, I will say, the Cybertruck, I've seen more Cybertrucks on used car lots than I ever would have thought in the first year of them being delivered. So
that's true.
People are obviously trying to flip those.
We'll see what happens when they do the price drop. Nathan, our producer, puts in a note. They're also struggling in Europe, right? Yep. No BYD cars in Europe yet, right? Is that true?
No. BYD's in Europe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anywhere BYD is, right? Anywhere BYD is, Tesla's struggling probably. I will say, though, I don't think it has anything to do with him being on the campaign trail for President Trump.
No. Yeah.
Because that's not, I mean, I see from like the conventional wisdom, right? I mean, it probably has more to do with him being the #1 video game player in whatever that game is than the Trump thing.
I don't think he sleeps. That's the whole thing, actually. I don't think he actually sleeps.
Yeah, I think
I mean, one of the companies, SpaceX, is literally catching rockets with chopsticks. Like, come on, guys, they're doing fine. That
had nothing to do with it either. Like, how are you going to peg this? Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of having nothing to do with it, or maybe everything to do with it. Actually.
Maybe everything. We're about to change the entire ASOTU brand and bring back Skip, because Lord & Taylor has done it. They've turned back the clock, reviving its cursive logo as it prepares to relaunch an online discount luxury retailer under new ownership, Regal Brands Global. The classic script logo, first introduced in 1945, replaces the modern sans serif word mark, which the new leadership called the biggest betrayal of the brand. Founded in 1826, Lord & Taylor is embracing its legacy, branding itself as the signature of American style for its digital comeback. Obviously, we've seen over the last 10 years a lot of brands move away from cursive and into sans serif style logos. The brand's Regal Brands Global Strategy Chief Officer Sinya Yenel said, "I understand going after young customers, but this is not a startup."
All right, I have thoughts on this. Number one, when they first changed it, it was like a major diss. We're like, we don't think millennials can read cursive. That's literally was one of the issues. There is I think there's so many right reasons to make this change go back. I think we're in the middle of this. Like, the pendulum always swings on fonts, on branding, and I think the pendulum is starting to shift back away from the clean, plain font, right? Like, we're kind of at the end of that cycle. They're still really popular. Lord & Taylor, people, if you do a good job with the brand, people will know what it means. People will know what it says. And I think the cursive one, it just has so much more character.
That one, especially them, because they went with like an extremely rigid, basic sans serif font. It's almost like it's like a Montserrat lookalike, so a very kind of like standard expanded type thing. And you go and look at the original thing that they're bringing back. It is dynamic. You can see it on the screen if you're watching. It's dynamic.
It's cool.
It stands out. Nobody else is doing it. Yeah. You throw that on a shirt, it's like, oh, I know what that brand is.
I'm not quite sure, but I think that is the actual handwriting of like an influential person back then in the brand. Like, that was their handwriting script. So it's got a story to it. Awesome job. They closed the Lord & Taylor in Syracuse. I used to really love that store. I'm not a big department store person, but for some reason, the Lord & Taylor store was like this nice in between like Macy's and Nordstrom. We don't have Nordstrom either. It's Syracuse.
Yeah.
We have Nordstrom Rack.
We don't have Nordstrom either.
We have Nordstrom Rack.
And I think, like, to speak to, some of even like the legacy automakers that are trying to rewrite their brands, this is going to be something where I think we see more people go back to origin stories in their brands and recognize that was a powerful thing. Yep. I will say, origin stories of car logo brands that have the little like shadow car, that's not what we're talking about here. You can still get rid of that thing, okay?
No, if you can go on Fiverr and see your logo in the first three. You go to fiverr.com, type in automotive logo. And if your logo looks anything like what comes up in the first page of search results, call your boys. It's time to change the logo. We can make a little bit of it. I don't know what we're doing out here this morning. Look, we hope you end the week strong. Look, going into the first weekend of the year for all of our dealer friends. It's going to be a good one this year. 2025, tons of momentum. Go out there and get it. We'll see you tomorrow.